The chilling death of Jade Benning. A young mother's final phone call. True crime documentary. Late one evening in February 2023, emergency dispatchers in Nashville, Tennessee, received a frantic 911 call that would soon become the center of a heartbreaking criminal investigation. Just after 9:30 p.m., 26-year-old former college football player Blaze Taylor called for help. He told dispatchers that his girlfriend, 24-year-old Jade Benning, had suddenly become critically ill. According to him, Jade, who was nearly 6 months pregnant, appeared to be suffering from a severe allergic reaction. Paramedics rushed to the home, hoping they could save both Jade and her unborn child. But when they arrived, something didn't seem right. Jade's condition was deteriorating rapidly. She was struggling to breathe and slipping in and out of consciousness. The medical team immediately transported her to Vanderbilt University Medical Center, where doctors worked desperately to stabilize her. As physicians examined Jade, they noticed that her symptoms didn't match a typical allergic reaction. Instead, they suspected something much more disturbing. While doctors searched for answers, investigators would soon discover that Jade had done something remarkable before she lost consciousness. Realizing that something was terribly wrong, she managed to call one of her closest friends. During that call, Jade reportedly revealed something that would later become one of the most important pieces of the investigation. She believed someone had intentionally poisoned her. That heartbreaking phone call would eventually help detectives piece together the final hours of her life. Who was Jade Benning? Before she became the victim in a tragic true crime case, Jade Benning was known as a hardworking, ambitious, and caring young woman with big dreams. Born and raised in Little Rock, Arkansas, Jade developed a passion for cooking at an early age. Friends and family described her as creative, determined, and always eager to help others. Rather than taking a traditional university path, Jade enrolled in culinary school at a local community college, where she dedicated herself to mastering the art of cooking. Her dream was simple but meaningful: to become an accomplished professional chef and eventually own a successful business. After graduating in 2020, Jade took a leap of faith and moved to Nashville, Tennessee, searching for better opportunities. Her talent quickly earned her a position as a chef at Ernest Bar and Hideaway, where her co-workers admired both her work ethic and positive personality. But Jade wasn't content with only working in a restaurant. She also launched her own catering company, JTB Eatery, hoping to build a future on her own terms. Her determination impressed everyone around her. Even with long hours in the kitchen, Jade still found time for family and friends. She remained especially close to her mother, Bridget, speaking with her almost every day. Their bond was incredibly strong, and Jade often shared her hopes, struggles, and future plans with her. She also stayed close to her lifelong best friend, Najaya Jackson. The two had been inseparable since they were just 6 years old. Those closest to Jade remember her as someone who always smiled, encouraged others, and believed the future held endless possibilities. A new chapter. As her career flourished, Jade's personal life also appeared to be moving forward. She began dating Blaze Taylor, a former college football player with an impressive athletic background. To outsiders, the relationship appeared promising. When Jade learned she was pregnant, she looked forward to becoming a mother and embracing the next stage of her life. Friends say she was excited about preparing for the baby's arrival and balancing motherhood with her growing catering business. Everything seemed to be falling into place. But behind closed doors, events were unfolding that no one could have imagined. What started as what appeared to be a sudden medical emergency would eventually become a homicide investigation that shocked friends, family, and the Nashville community. investigators would soon begin asking difficult questions. If this wasn't an allergic reaction, what really caused Jade Benning to collapse? And was someone she trusted responsible for what happened? As detectives dug deeper into the evidence, they uncovered a disturbing series of events that transformed a tragic death into one of the most unsettling true crime cases in recent years. In the next chapter, investigators begin reconstructing Jade's final hours, examining medical evidence, witness statements, and the shocking details that would ultimately lead them to accuse the person closest to her. In early November 2022, Jade Benning's life changed forever. After taking an at-home pregnancy test, she saw the result she had been hoping for. It was positive. Overwhelmed with excitement, she immediately shared the news with her lifelong best friend, Najaya Jackson. Eager to confirm the pregnancy, Najaya began calling medical clinics throughout Nashville, searching for the earliest available appointment. Although she couldn't find a same-day visit, she managed to secure one for the very next morning. On November 3, 2022, doctors officially confirmed what Jade already knew. She was going to be a mother. The joyful news spread quickly through her family. Her mother, Bridget, was thrilled and immediately began shopping for baby clothes, toys, and nursery supplies. Friends started talking about baby showers, while Jade embraced every moment of preparing for motherhood. As her pregnancy progressed, Jade moved into a spacious two-bedroom apartment at the Ontario apartment complex on Lebanon Pike in Nashville. It was the perfect place to begin a new chapter with her growing family. Those closest to her remember how happy she looked during those months. She proudly shared ultrasound photos with family and friends, smiling as she imagined the future that lay ahead. One photo showed Jade holding a container of Ben & Jerry's half-baked ice cream, while proudly displaying her ultrasound images. Doctors later revealed she was expecting a baby girl. Jade had already chosen the perfect name, Ivy. She dreamed about holding her daughter for the first time and giving her the loving childhood she had always imagined. No one could have imagined that those dreams would never become reality. February 25, 2023, at 9:38 p.m., emergency dispatchers in Nashville received a frantic 911 call from Jade's apartment. The caller was Blaze Taylor, Jade's boyfriend and the father of her unborn child. He told the dispatcher that Jade had suddenly become very sick. According to Blaze, they had been spending the evening together when, without warning, Jade began feeling unwell. He believed she might be suffering from a severe allergic reaction, even though he admitted he wasn't aware of any allergies she had. During the call, the dispatcher repeatedly asked whether Jade was having trouble breathing, whether she owned an EpiPen, or whether she had eaten something unusual. Blaze struggled to answer many of the questions. At one point, he told the dispatcher that Jade was awake but wasn't responding to him. Moments later, he reported that she had vomited. The dispatcher instructed him to gently roll her onto her side while paramedics rushed to the apartment. As precious minutes passed, Jade's condition rapidly worsened. By the time emergency medical technicians arrived at 9:50 p.m., roughly 12 minutes after the 911 call had begun, they found a horrifying scene. Jade was lying face down on the bed in the primary bedroom. A pink, frothy liquid was coming from her mouth onto the bed sheets, a sign that something was terribly wrong. She no longer had a pulse. Paramedics immediately began life-saving measures before rushing her to Vanderbilt University Medical Center. Doctors worked desperately to save both Jade and her unborn daughter. Meanwhile, detectives began interviewing Blaze Taylor at the hospital. Investigators noticed several inconsistencies almost immediately. Although Blaze had repeatedly suggested that Jade was experiencing an allergic reaction, he had failed to tell the 911 dispatcher that she was nearly 6 months pregnant, a detail investigators considered extremely important. During questioning, Blaze explained that the couple had been enjoying a date night together when Jade suddenly became ill. He claimed he panicked and first called his father before being advised to dial 911. When detectives asked whether Jade had said anything before collapsing, Blaze insisted she had only complained about feeling sick. He denied that the couple had argued and described their relationship as stable. He also told investigators that, to his knowledge, Jade had no significant medical conditions or known allergies. But behind the scenes, doctors were reaching a very different conclusion. Jade's symptoms didn't resemble a typical allergic reaction. As medical testing continued, investigators would soon uncover evidence suggesting that this wasn't a tragic medical emergency at all. Instead, they began to suspect they were dealing with something far more sinister, an intentional act that would transform the case into a homicide investigation and shock the entire country. As doctors fought to save Jade Benning and her unborn daughter, the medical team quickly realized they were not dealing with a typical allergic reaction. Jade showed none of the signs emergency physicians would normally expect. There was no swollen tongue, no widespread rash, no hives, no severe facial swelling. Instead, blood tests revealed something unexpected. According to investigators, toxicology testing indicated the presence of a significant amount of cocaine in Jade's system. The finding immediately raised serious questions. As those closest to Jade said, they had never known her to use drugs. Medical staff began searching for answers, while detectives shifted their investigation from a possible medical emergency to a potential criminal case. Who was Blaze Taylor? At the center of the investigation was 26-year-old Blaze Taylor. To many people, Blaze appeared to have an extraordinary future ahead of him. He was the son of respected Arkansas State football coach Trooper Taylor and had built an impressive reputation of his own. As a standout athlete for the Arkansas State Red Wolves, Blaze served as a team captain during each year of his college football career, an achievement that reflected the trust and respect of both teammates and coaches. His accomplishments extended far beyond football. He became the first Football Bowl Subdivision (FBS) player in the United States to earn both a bachelor's degree and a master's degree before beginning his true senior season. Coaches frequently praised his intelligence, leadership, and discipline, describing him as someone who excelled both academically and athletically. Outside football, Blaze also devoted time to community service. Together with his sister, Star Taylor, he co-founded The Power of One or Two, a nonprofit organization focused on supporting children, families, and at-risk youth through education and mentorship. To those who knew him professionally, Blaze appeared driven, charismatic, and deeply committed to helping others. After graduating, he continued pursuing a career in football, working in coaching and player scouting. By early 2023, he had accepted a position as a professional scout with the Tennessee Titans, a role that required frequent travel across the country. Despite his demanding career, investigators later learned that Blaze's personal life was more complicated than it appeared. According to investigators, he was active on dating apps and was reportedly seeing multiple women around the same time he was in a relationship with Jade. In an interview recorded before these events, Blaze even described himself as single when asked whether he was dating anyone. That statement would later attract significant public attention as investigators examined the timeline of his relationship with Jade. Jade's final phone call. Only a few hours before the emergency call, Jade had welcomed visitors into her apartment. Her lifelong best friend, Najaya Jackson, and another friend stopped by to pick up leftover portions of Jade's homemade chicken Alfredo. Both later told investigators that Jade appeared completely normal. She was cheerful, relaxed, and excited about the future. Nothing suggested the tragedy was only moments away. But shortly after they left, everything changed. At approximately 9:29 p.m., Najaya's phone rang. The call came from Jade. When she answered, Jade wasn't speaking directly to her. Instead, according to investigators, the phone remained connected while Najaya overheard a disturbing conversation taking place inside the apartment. Jade sounded frightened. She repeatedly told Blaze that she believed he had put something into her drink. She reportedly said he was scaring her and that she suddenly felt strange. As the call continued, her speech became increasingly confused and difficult to understand. Then, the line went dead. Realizing something was terribly wrong, Najaya immediately drove back to Jade's apartment. By the time she arrived, emergency crews were already there. She watched in horror as her best friend was carried from the apartment and loaded into an ambulance. It would be the last time she ever saw Jade conscious. A family searching for answers. While Jade fought for her life at Vanderbilt University Medical Center, both families were desperately trying to understand what had happened. According to investigators, Blaze contacted his family from the hospital and reportedly told his mother that doctors believed Jade might have COVID-19. Meanwhile, Jade's mother, Bridget, received devastating news and immediately began the 6-hour drive from Little Rock, Arkansas, to Nashville. When she arrived in the middle of the night, she found her daughter on life support. Doctors were still trying to determine what had caused the young mother's sudden collapse. Confused and heartbroken, Jade's family wanted answers. The apartment. As investigators continued processing the scene, friends and family carefully observed the apartment. The home appeared unusually neat. Dirty dishes had been cleaned. The leftover chicken Alfredo remained neatly packed in a container on the kitchen counter. A baking tray with several cookies still sat on the stove. Jade Benning was a talented young chef who was excited to become a mother. She was expecting a baby girl named Ivy when her life took a tragic turn on February 25, 2023. That evening, Jade and her boyfriend, Blaze Taylor, spent time together cooking, painting, and taking photos. Just minutes later, Jade suddenly became seriously ill. Before collapsing, prosecutors say she called her best friend and accused Blaze of putting something in her drink. Doctors determined that Jade's symptoms were not caused by an allergic reaction. Medical tests found a large amount of cocaine in her system. Jade suffered irreversible brain damage, and both she and her unborn daughter, Ivy, later died. As investigators examined the case, questions about the couple's relationship and Jade's final phone call led to Blaze Taylor being charged with murder. He has pleaded not guilty, and the case has been contested in court. Jade's story remains one of the most heartbreaking true crime cases in recent years, leaving many questions for the justice system to answer. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future true crime stories. Also, share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think happened that night? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.